You are about to start. The project is open. The plan is clear. The moment is right. And then, before a single action is taken, a voice arrives. Not loud, quiet, measured, reasonable. You're not ready yet. This will probably fail. Other people are already doing this better. Wait until you have more information. You listen. You close the project. You tell yourself, it was wisdom. It was not wisdom. It was sabotage. And the saboteur was you. This is not a metaphor. This is a precise psychological mechanism that Nietzsche identified 140 years ago and named with surgical accuracy. The inner saboteur does not feel like an enemy. That is what makes it lethal. It feels like self-awareness. It feels like caution. It produces perfectly rational arguments for why now is not the right time, why your current abilities are insufficient, why the risk is too high and the preparation too thin. Every argument it makes is structured to sound like intelligence, and every argument leads to the same conclusion: do not move. The man who is forced into an oppressively narrow and regular morality, who for want of external enemies and resistance impatiently tears, persecutes, gnaws, disturbs, mistreats himself, this yearning and desperate prisoner, became the inventor of bad conscience. Nietzsche was not describing a psychiatric condition. He was describing you, specifically. The drive that was built to conquer external resistance redirected inward, consuming itself. Producing not action, but endless internal argument. The saboteur was not born with you. It was built. Here is the mechanism. Every time you were punished for aggression, for ambition, for the raw desire to take up more space in the world, the instinct did not disappear. It was redirected. Society does not tolerate the instinct for conquest expressed outwardly. It rewards restraint. It punishes excess. It calls ambition, arrogance, and aggression, ego, and the desire for more greed. This instinct for freedom, forcibly made latent, pushed back and repressed, incarcerated within, finally able to discharge and vent only upon itself. That, and that alone, is what the bad conscience is in its beginnings. The drive did not die. It turned around, and now it operates on the only target left available, you. Every flash of self-doubt, every moment of paralysis before action, every voice that says you are not enough, not ready, not worthy of the thing you want, that is the will to power with nowhere to go except inward. The saboteur uses 3 weapons, each one disguised as virtue. Weapon 1, false humility. The voice tells you that wanting what you want is arrogant, that acknowledging your own capability is delusion, that the appropriate posture is doubt permanent, productive-sounding doubt that never resolves into action. Weapon 2, infinite preparation. The voice agrees that the goal is legitimate. It simply requires more research, more skill, more time, more evidence that you are ready. The preparation never completes. The readiness never arrives. The action never begins. Weapon 3, comparison. The voice finds someone who is already further along the path you want to walk. It presents this as evidence, not as motivation, as verdict. They are ahead. Therefore, you are behind. Therefore, you should wait. These 3 weapons have one function: not to protect you, to freeze you. But here is what nobody in this conversation will say directly. Self-help makes the saboteur stronger. Every podcast about self-doubt, every book about overcoming your inner critic, every framework for understanding your limiting beliefs feeds the mechanism, because the mechanism thrives on attention. It does not care whether the attention is negative or therapeutic. It grows in proportion to how seriously you take it. Ressentiment freezes the self into negation. Overcoming requires transforming ressentiment into affirmative self-creation, turning suffering and constraints into sources of growth. Nietzsche's prescription was not to understand the saboteur, not to negotiate with it, not to heal it, to override it completely, through action that does not wait for the internal war to resolve. The war never resolves. That is the point. The man who waits for silence before acting will wait forever. 3 steps, not philosophy, not therapy. Protocol. Step 1. Name the mechanism, not the content. When the voice arrives, do not engage with what it is saying. Do not evaluate whether the argument is valid. Name what is happening. This is ressentiment, the drive turned inward, operating as designed. The naming removes the disguise. The voice no longer sounds like wisdom. It sounds like a mechanism doing what mechanisms do. And mechanisms can be overridden. Step 2. Refuse the negotiation. The saboteur will offer a deal. It will tell you, address this one concern first, resolve this one doubt, answer this one question, and then you can proceed. Do not accept the deal. To demand of strength that it should not express itself as strength is just as absurd as to demand of weakness that it should express itself as strength. The negotiation is the trap. Every concession produces a new condition. The voice does not run out of conditions. It generates them in proportion to your willingness to address them. One answer: refuse. Move. Step 3. Act before the voice finishes. This is the entire protocol compressed into one instruction. The voice requires time to build its case. It needs to construct the argument, present the evidence, establish the conclusion. This process takes seconds, sometimes less. Act inside that window, before the case is complete, before the verdict is delivered. Not because the action will be perfect, because the action is the only thing that interrupts the mechanism. Completed arguments produce paralysis. Interrupted arguments produce nothing. Active overcoming requires transforming the inward aggression into affirmative self-creation. The act itself is the transformation. The saboteur cannot survive contact with the thing it was preventing. One real action, imperfect, incomplete, taken before you were ready, does more damage to the internal enemy than years of understanding it. Nietzsche did not offer peace with the internal enemy. He did not offer resolution, integration, or healing. He offered something more useful: the understanding that the enemy is not separate from you. It is your own strength, misdirected. And misdirected strength can be redirected. Nietzsche pictured the triumph over the impulses in terms of sublimation. The powerful man subjects even his most cherished beliefs to the severe scrutiny of reason and is prepared to abandon them if rationality requires it. The inner saboteur does not need to be silenced. It needs to be turned outward. Every voice that says you are not ready, that is energy. Every flash of self-doubt, that is force. Every argument for paralysis, that is the will to power, waiting for a target that is not you. Give it one, today, before the voice finishes its sentence. That is the protocol. That is the only silence that matters. If this hit differently than what you usually watch, subscribe. No motivation, no self-help. Nietzsche, every week.